Welcome to my budget deck channel where I try to make decks as cheap and playable as possible. So if this is something you'd be interested in, then why not subscribe? Another day, another budget set review, and today with one of my favorite sets. I really like this and I wanted to wait for the review till the newest cards came out and are implemented into the game. They are not implemented in this secret pack though, they're implemented in a selection pack that may or may not exist at this time that you're watching this video anymore, but doesn't really matter. Even if they've not included them afterwards into this pack, then they're expensive, but they don't really need to be played at 3, so you have to like craft like 2 ultra rares in addition to this from any of the packs. Like for each deck has 1 ultra rare in the selection pack that you would have to craft, but other than that, most of the cards you need for either of those decks will be in this pack. And I don't want to spoil my whole review at the end, so let's get right into the rating of the ultra rares and the super rares and see what value you get out of this pack. This card is an ultra rare, Link 3. It's not too bad as an ultra rare, it works. You need 3 monsters with different types, annoyingly 3 monsters. So the new Link 2 has an issue with this one because you technically lose out on some value then, because if you use it with the Link 2, then you still have to use 2 other monsters, so 1 monster on board you'll lose instantly again. It's a bit annoying, but the effect of this card, very, very nice. And the art style, look at it, it is absolutely beautiful. And that's not from a furry point of view, that is just the whole Japanese swordsman, samurai kind of thing. Very, very, very nice. Cannot be used as link material. If this card is link summoned, you can special summon 1 monster for hire with a different type from the 3 monsters used for link summon. Interesting, keep that one in mind. From your deck and defense position, usually you want to go for one of the big ones, and they don't have that type for the small for hire monsters anyway, so that is that. Or shall I say Sky Fang Brigade, or whatever it was called in the OCG before they turned it into a massive pun in this one. Some people are not happy that that violates problem solving card text. Why would you be? That's not what it's there for. And if cards your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effects, you can draw 1 card, and then if you control 3 or more monsters for hire with different names, draw 2 additional cards. So very, very nice card draw. It doesn't really come up going first, but obviously you can play this deck go second, you can play this deck go first, and then use it during your opponent's turn. Sadly, the negates don't destroy, so you don't actually draw during your opponent's turn that much. You'd have to use some other forms of removal to trigger this one, and can be quite nice with hand traps and so on and so on and so on. This card is a very good 1 or 2 off, so very good value out of the ultra rare, and you don't need too many of it, so you don't have to go too deep. We have Blackbeard, the Plunder Patrol Captain. I think you want to run at least 2 of this. Technically you can run 3. You can get away with 1, but I don't think so. I think this card is very important in the deck. So yeah, for an ultra rare, it's a bit expensive in a sense. The whole Plunder Patrol will be a bit expensive, so if you want to craft a whole Plunder Patrol deck, it's fine if you just go into this pack and you will get everything you need basically, besides that 1 ship, the Pendulum one. But this pack will have to be opened quite a few times, and we'll talk about why this is. This one is just like a play startery kind of card that can help you go into any of the extra deck monsters and so on and so on. Very, very neat cards, and you can draw 1 card as well, which is quite important because you, for lots of effects, need to have 1 plunder card in your hand. So there is that one. We have the Champion for Hire, a very, very good card. You kind of need it 1 to 2 times in your deck. So yes, you can start out with 1, and if you really like it, add a second one. For an ultra rare, I feel like it could have been a super rare. It's not that crazy. It's like a monster negate that doesn't destroy, and you have to discard 1 for hire card from your hand for, so it's okay. And you can excavate some stuff and add some stuff to your hand. So in the end, it's a very niche card, a very neat card as well. Yeah, you don't have to have 3 of it, so that makes it a bit better. I wish it wasn't ultra rare, but in the end it kind of makes sense-ish that 1 of them was. It is what it is. We have the card that makes Plunder Patrol impossibly expensive. Plunder Patrol Shipyard, very punny this whole pack. Yeah, it's an okay card. Like, you get your search off, you can discard stuff, so some of the discard effects trigger if it's into the graveyard. You want to play this card at 3, and you probably also want to be playing Terraforming. This card searches you everything. It makes OTKs a lot more viable. So many things with this deck, with this card you can do. So sadly, you would have to open this pack a few times to get into this if you don't want to be crafting it, because this one sadly is very, very essential. And the reason for why I haven't done Plunder Patrol on this channel yet, because I cannot really find a good way of you playing plunders, because the main deck monsters aren't that many. I think there's like 4 or 5 main deck monsters that actually, that exist, and you need this card to even go into them, so a bit problematic with that one. We have the ship. This is the one I think that deals with spell traps. You can add one spell trap, and then you can be doing some stuff. You can target effect monsters. Banshee, this is the one that deals with the effect monsters, but you can add one Plunder Patrol spell trap from your deck to your hand. So very, very good card, and you get away with playing it at 1 or 2. So for super rare, it's not that bad. We have the other ship, that is Bran, the synchro one, that deals with spell traps your opponent controls and banishes them, and you can add Plunder Patrol monsters from your deck to your hand. So it's basically night and day, the opposite of each other. They both do kind of the same but different, and attack stat wise, this one I think is the better one. Also get away with playing 1 or 2 of it in your extra deck. Plus these are the only like super rare ones. The ships are, besides the Pendulum one, which for some reason is an ultra rare. We didn't want to stay true to what this deck tried to do, but I mean, I guess it is what it is. We have the patrol ship list, I think, or lice, how some people call it. You can, I think, negate some stuff with this one. You can special summon a Plunder Patrol monster card from your hand, or face up spell traps only because they all equips. So that's a very nice effect, and it negates monster effects at least. But you always have to discard these Plunder Patrol cards in your hand to use any of these effects. Very, very nice card. And then you can add one Plunder Patrol card from your deck to hand. So this card just sometimes a lot stronger, but a bit hard, well, not harder to go into, but technically you can fusion summon this one, and so on and so on. Don't want to make this a plunder review just for the set, so it's okay. That's a super rare. Another super rare, Beat Bladesman for Hire, very important card in the deck. It makes sense, this is a super rare. With the newest development of Konami, it could have made this an ultra rare, so we can be glad it's just a super rare. And yeah, you want to be playing 3 of this. There's no way around that, and you would play 6 of it if you could, if I'm not mistaken, because it adds you stuff from your deck to your hand. It's a warrior, so you can search it as well, so it's not too bad. We have Dyna Hero for Hire, a bit annoying as a super rare. The effect comes in handy these days, but it's not the best card. Good news is if you run it, you get away with running just one. So if you open the pack, you will probably get one of this anyway. So don't fear it too much. Don't be too annoyed that it's a super rare, because usually if you open this pack anyway, which you should if you want to be playing for hires, then you will get one of these anyway. We have Whisk, Sage for Hire, basically same concept. Understand that this is a super rare, this is your spell negate, and if it's special summon, you gain 500 life points for each for hire monster, which in TCG is okay-ish, because you have the time rules. In Master Duel that matters very, very little, so it's a decent-ish card, and you get away with just playing 1, so not much of an issue. And now we are at the rare cards, so we'll just jump over them a little bit. Some of the good cards are rare, like Philo is the new Rex one, isn't in this pack, but is also rare, so you can just craft that. We have all the main deck monsters of Plunder Patrol as rare slots, so that's very, very nice. So you can play, well, obviously as it were normal slots, you can play this deck very, very neatly. And now let's talk about the pack in general. What can you expect? Can you get playable decks out of this one? I'd say 100%. You even might end up with 2 playable decks out of this whole pack, because neither of these decks need too much support from anything else. Yes, of course, most decks need some generic staples at this point, but other than that, all the cards you really need for like an effective deck are basically in here, besides the 2 new cards, one for hire, an ultra rare extra deck monster, and one for Plunder Patrol, the extra deck ship. So yes, you will be getting a playable deck, and the decks were playable before, even if you don't have these cards, and they're not going to cost much crafting material. So very, very nice, the pack. And to the strength of the deck, Plunder Patrol is fairly decent. It's not like super meta defining or anything, but you can scrape away a lot of wins with this deck specifically. And for hire, with the newest cards, they're not awful. They're absolutely playable, and they're probably in the top 50% of archetypes and not in the bottom. So in the end, this pack, very, very nice, gives you lots of things. And I think rating wise, I would say for the price of it, for Plunder Patrol, you sadly have to go into this pack a bit more often than for hire, for example. Obviously, it always depends on your luck, but you need more ultra rares for Plunder Patrol, and you need them more often. So that can be a bit problematic. That's why I deduct some points for it, but I'd still say it's like an 8 or 9 out of 10. This is definitely, if you want to play these archetypes, yes, invest 100% into this deck. There's no way around this at all, and the archetypes are fairly decent. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, but most importantly, I hope you have a nice day.